It's Southern Time in college football, brought to you by Southern DNA, the best YouTube show, I have to say. Well, since I'm one half of the show, anyways. So go over on YouTube channel and our YouTube.com, search for Southern DNA, check out me and my brother's YouTube channel. We review food and have a good time doing it. And I hope you check us out. But anyways, besides that, get past that part. It is football time in college football. We just got done with week 2. The rankings are out. The games are done. Boy, was some crazy stuff going on in last week's. We saw some upsets. We saw some underperformances. We saw some lackluster, and we're going to discuss all those games and the AP poll ranking and how it kind of shook up and laid out here. And as always, I'm joined again with my co-hosts Jaden and Cody.
Woo! Yeah.
Mm.
Week
Mm.
2 has finally
Week two.
concluded, and I will say it has exceeded my expectations.
I,
Far exceeded.
And
I would say so.
some of it has not. Some of it has not.
Some of it was a little disappointing.
It was
some of
better
it
than
was
most
not.
week 2s.
That's true. There was some
will say that.
good games. There was some really good games.
I watched like 6 games Saturday. They're pretty good.
Mm.
All of them were pretty decent.
Again, I watched that ESPN where it has like the multi-channel, and I guess YouTube TV does it also. So I had the chance to watch them on both, and so I got to watch a lot of the different games. I actually ended up streaming the Tennessee game for them too, so they could watch that game.
Yeah, because I don't have ESPN Plus.
But I watched quite a few games last weekend. Just some that I wasn't really, was going to watch them, but just because I had the 4 channel stream, I went ahead and done it anyways. So I don't even know where we start with this because there were some really good games and there were some
man,
boring games and there were some really lackluster, disappointing games.
Well, I don't want to run the show or tell anybody. Here's a suggestion, I guess, is a better way to say it. How about we get, like, kind of the loser games out of the way? Because I don't want to be talking about those, like, later or in the end or whatever. We can just be like, oh, wow, this game, cool, and then move on, and then we can, I don't know, we can just do whatever we go. I don't really care. It don't matter to me, but there's some games on here I'm looking at that, like, we don't even need to really talk about.
Well, no, and there's some. I mean, okay, for example, we'll talk about this right off the bat, like Ohio State and Youngstown State.
There you go. Perfect place to start.
Yeah.
I will say, Ohio State only put 35 on Youngstown, and Youngstown, I think, struck first. If I'm not mistaken, they came out swinging first, maybe. But I know it was tied when I flipped over to the game. It was 7-7. I'm just like, in the first quarter, it's 7-7. Youngstown State. What is this?
Hey, I guess those 4 people from Youngstown State heard us talking, and they were like, "We can't let this slide." And they happened to be on the football team.
I guess so. But
and they popped off a little bit.
They had the ball longer than Ohio State did. They had plenty of opportunities, but we won't go into it that much because it was 35-7. Nothing really to talk about much on there. Ohio State done what they were supposed to. Well, they won. Let's put it that way. I don't know if week 2 they did what they were supposed to, but they won.
They did. They did indeed win.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll move past that. Another one, Georgia and Ball State.
Oh yeah.
Georgia came out and done what they were supposed to do.
Yeah.
I mean, a field goal's sort of expected,
And I think, if I'm not mistaken,
field goal.
let me look right here, but I think that was at the end of the game when Georgia had already put their like third string in. So, I mean, that's expected at that point. It was a dominated game. They did what they were supposed to. No surprises there.
Nope.
Not worth talking about. Another one, Michigan and UNLV. That was 35-7. I mean, exactly what Ohio State did. Exactly. Same points. So
yeah, but they're like, I'm just assuming, but I'm assuming that they've gotten pretty like. Of course, they keep their first strings in. I think like the first half. I don't know when UNLV scored,
It was the fourth
but
quarter, so it was
okay, so
different
that's
from
when their
Youngstown.
strings.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's when they put their strings in. They're Michigan's taking a lot of their starters out after the half and just letting them play the last half, just the backups.
Well, I mean, of course,
And
in these games
as
you
you know,
should.
yeah, it makes it makes sense. And so you would see the score a little bit higher if it wasn't like that for sure, but don't go crazy about Michigan got scored on. I was at the end of the game, bro. So
Yeah,
yeah.
7 points at the
Not
end of the
much
game.
though, but
It's
yeah.
not like Ohio State and Youngstown State where they scored right at the beginning of the game, 7 points on their first string defense. So that's a difference right there. So Michigan, not much to
Yeah.
talk about there. They did what they were supposed to. I would like to see a little bit more points from out of Michigan
Yeah.
with a small school like that.
But
But
I get what they're doing.
yeah. Another one, Duke and Lafayette, 42-7.
Huh.
Duke
I have
did
nothing.
Duke did what they were supposed to do. I mean,
Yeah.
it's the same situation. Now I will say Lafayette did score in the first. They're 7, so they came out strong and did nothing for the rest of the game. But Duke made them pay and put 42 on them. So
Good job, Duke.
I mean, it is what
Good
it
job
is.
for beating Clemson again.
And then we got Oregon State versus UC Davis, 55-7. Yeah, that one was a straight destroying, and UC Davis didn't score until the fourth. So that was when they probably looked like they probably put their cheerleaders in at that point. So 55
Probably.
to
They probably
7.
had some of the fans playing too.
Yeah.
I mean, you want to run that score up just a tad bit more, I guess. But yeah, that's they did what they're supposed. So those games right there, maybe the USC Stanford game, 56-10, is almost like that too. Those games.
Nah.
I mean, this is week 2. You expect cupcake type, teams to get the cupcake results, right?
It's kind of
Um,
sad to see Stanford, kind of fall like they did in the past decade. They
Yeah.
used to be quite good a while back, but
So-
now they're,
I mean, these scores to me are, you run them up, 56-10. It is what it is. And they scored in the second, a 3 field goal in the second, and 7 in the fourth. So that's where they got their 10 from. I mean, wasn't much of a game.
hmm
So we can just kind of blow by those. Maybe even Kansas State and Troy, 42-13.
yeah, Kansas State, Troy, and also there was another one I thought I saw. Like
Washington and Tulsa,
UCLA, kind of. I mean, it was 35-10. Yeah, Washington and Tulsa.
43-10.
That one.
Washington and Tulsa. I think that. Well,
Penn State and Delaware, 63-7. Just
and
don't even
Florida
talk about
State and
that.
Southern Miss, 66-13.
66-13, and not to mention LSU and Grambling got
Well-
a whopping 72-10.
And the reason why I didn't say anything about that one, I did scroll by that one, and the only reason I did, it feels like LSU was just mad. They
About
came
last
out
weekend.
swinging after last weekend. So they took out all their frustrations on Grambling. 72 points. I mean, you done destroyed them. I don't even know if at that point did you take your first string out?
I don't know. I think they just kept them in, to be honest.
I
More
mean, dang.
practicing.
72-10. I mean, they just hammered down on them. But again, Grambling scored 10 points in the first. And then LSU came back and made them pay for it. But it really makes me wonder if LSU's not got some major problems going on. I know that's a big number, 72-10. But you let Grambling score 10 points on you in the first, and you done lost last week. So I don't think LSU's got even a chance this year entering the playoff contention. I mean, they already lost a game. I do believe there's some of in the tops. They probably will lose a game too, but I think they're done for this year. I hope they have a decent
Yeah, I
bowl
don't see
game.
them going far.
No. So that's the only reason why I didn't skip. Didn't skip over that one right off the bat was because they did lose last week, and then they came in and just I think they just got mad, and they should have been. They should have been mad from the get go. They should have been mad last week, and they came in and finally took care of business. Clemson and Charleston Southern, 66-17. Another one that's it started off interesting. It started off interesting. It was tied in the first, 14-14. And then Charleston Southern could only do 3 and a field goal in the seconds, and then they couldn't do anything in the rest of the game. But it started off pretty interesting. It looked like that one could have been an upset. And I don't know if y'all watched that game or not, but I did watch the first quarter, and I was pretty surprised. Another team that is struggling this year, rightfully so deserved to be in that 25 spot after their first week's performance. So getting those cupcake games out of the way, well, all of them were kind of cupcake, but there were some more interesting games. Penn State, I'm sorry, I forgot about this one. Penn State, Delaware, did we mention that one earlier?
Yeah, I mentioned that one earlier.
Okay. I just had scrolled down to it and didn't know if we mentioned it or not. Where do we want to start that?
I just thought about that before you brought it up, and I was been looking. Now we didn't bring this up during the cupcake games, or whatever. Talking about the throwaways.
Yeah.
But I want to start at the Colorado-Nebraska game.
Okay.
Just because
that was interesting.
Because look, we all know. Nebraska, is like eh. I have to say this every time we bring it up. They're literally eh. And Colorado actually didn't really play all that good in the first half. It wasn't until the second half they started really lighting it up.
Yeah.
So that makes me think. And I watched after week 2, I watched a lot of coach press conferences or whatever. I watched Deion Sanders, and when we get to the Tennessee game, Josh Heupel will talk about the Austin Peay game. Just to see what's going on. And Deion Sanders, he definitely was like, yeah, we did not really dominate, because that was their theme. If you've kind of keep up with college football or Colorado in general, in his like prep talks,
yeah,
there's like a theme of the week or a theme of the day type of thing, and that was dominate. Or no, it's personal. It's personal for Nebraska, but they wanted to dominate the game or something. Like that was the theme of the day, but theme of the week was it's personal or something, right? So Deion Sanders was like, yeah, we wanted to come in to dominate, and we didn't do that exactly. And but yeah, I wanted to start with this one. To be honest, I watched the highlights, and they still have amazing talent. I think they gave up like 5 something sacks or whatever, and I don't know. They played a little sloppy, so that makes me think that Colorado is the hype finally bogging down on them. Is it wearing and tearing them down? Like, what's going on at Colorado?
I would say, and I will say no, and here's why. Nebraska was actually predicted to win this game. They was predicted to win going into this game, and it was like 50.
I don't know how.
58 to something. I think is what it ended up being, percentage wise, 58 something. I don't know, to percent over Colorado, and it wasn't until Colorado started doing something. Really, was a second when they first started swinging anything. Then that number starts ticking away. But they were predicted to win. If you look at Colorado's schedule, almost every single game throughout the whole season, they are predicted to lose every game. And yet, so far, twice they beat those odds. Is it over with?
Yeah.
I don't think it is next week.
No, Colorado State's their interstate rival. They'll roll Colorado State.
Oregon and Colorado will probably beat them. But, I mean, they've got to go through a couple people, but the rest of the year, they may be fine.
Okay, so here's what I'm thinking. I don't know. Actually, Cody, I'll let you speak if you have something before I get into what I have to say. I don't know if you have anything to say or not.
No, I think. Well, I mean, I think Wasn't somebody rumored to be injured before that game?
I don't know
I
if
can't
anybody
remember
was or
who it
not.
was. I think one of the
I
key players was injured before the
Yeah, I
game.
think I know what you're talking about. Oh no, uh, there was there was someone hurt during the game. I don't know.
Or
I
during
don't.
the
I
game,
didn't.
maybe.
Yeah, it was a key player hurt during the game. Because I watched it and they got hurt and they walked on the side. I don't know if it was a bad injury or nothing, but I don't think they came back and played.
Yeah.
So maybe it was like, well, just stay out of the game, type of injury. Like you're not done for like 6 months, just not this week. You won't play anymore this week. But yeah, there was
Yeah.
someone hurt during the game, but I don't know about before. But yeah, a key player was hurt during the game.
I believe it was during the game. I can't remember who it was off the top of my head.
It was um so I hope this is the correct team. I hope it's Colorado. There's two cousins who play on this team, and I think both of their last names are Hopper or something like that. And one of them got hurt, and they're a key player. I think both of them are key players, but they got hurt, and I think they're on defense. I think they're a corner or a safety or something. And um, he didn't play for the rest of the game, but that's the only thing that I remember in terms of injury.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Well, you have anyway. We'll continue. You have anything
continue.
else?
Oh
So
no,
you-
I just wanted to bring that up. I just
Oh,
wanted to bring up
they
that
go
I
in
believe
and
a key
maybe
player.
okay.
Yeah. And I think that might have maybe swayed the some of the
Okay,
results.
so it's not really a tangent, but here's what I think about Colorado, right? Uh, there's a lot of hype going around Colorado, rightfully so. This is rightfully so, but there's a lot of people's like, man, you just hating on Colorado for no reason, or people want to see them fail, preying on their downfall. I'm like, no, I'm not. Here's the thing about me in Colorado that I think. Their incline is amazing. The journey they're on right now is amazing, and their incline is crazy, right? They're doing good. But I'm interested in the decline, not because I want to see them fail, not because I hate them. I want to see their decline because I'm interested about what they will do when their backs are against the wall on an opponent that they're having a hard time beating.
Yeah,
This big
the famous Rocky quote. It's not about how hard you hit, but it's how hard you get hit
you get
and how you
and
get
get
back
back
up.
up.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
that's my thing for Colorado is that I'm glad they have this amazing incline because they'll go 3-0. But here's the thing: then they play Oregon the fourth week. Now here's the
Mhm.
thing about Oregon, and I won't get into it because Oregon played Texas Tech, and that's a whole game. We'll get into that later, and I have things I want to say about that game. But I watched the highlights because I missed the Oregon and Texas Tech game. Oregon has they have an explosive offense. They can have an explosive offense and they can have a deadly defense. My problem with Oregon is I just think they're inconsistent. So the thing is, I don't know if I can. Colorado and Oregon will be the first test for Colorado, I believe for sure, the first real test for them. But can Oregon do it? That's my problem. So I'm really stemming on USC to be the real test for Colorado more than
Yeah.
Oregon
Yeah.
because I just don't. Honestly, obviously we're not picking people to win this game in week 4 because we're not there yet. But like I just want to see the decline. I want to see what they do when their backs are against the wall. Can they overcome that opposition, the adversity? And if so, and they run the board the entire season, then they absolutely deserve all the respect and hype that they were given at the start of the season. I'm just interested in the decline because I don't know how far it goes till their hype runs out. When does it end?
I mean
Not
that
because I want to see them fail,
that's a valid argument, and I don't disagree with you a bit. I think right now they've already exceeded expectations. I mean, they were a 1-10
What I'm
team
saying, they've
last
already
year.
proved something.
Yeah.
Yeah, they've already proved
So
something.
they're
but-
already better than they were last year. I mean,
oh, for sure.
so Deion Sanders have already done something better than what they previously had. So
Not to mention, a lot of people that Deion Sanders coached prior followed him to that team. Like this is like some
Oh, yeah.
NFL move, bro.
Yeah.
Like people
Yeah.
he coached in college and or not college, sorry, in high school and Jack State. Was that where he was at before Colorado?
I
I
believe so.
think so.
And people followed him there, and they transferred there, dude,
Oh, I
because
mean,
people liked him. He's a good. I mean, I'm
yeah.
sure he's a good coach and stuff, but they followed him there like it was some NFL like trade system, bro. And they're like, oh yeah, we're building a dynasty, and they very well might, have a little dynasty going on in Colorado. But
It's a
yeah, that's just
possibility.
my point. I just want to see what they can do
I think
when
I
they're
think what they
cornered.
need to do is they need to clean up some of the sloppy errors because I saw a lot of penalties, some unnecessary penalties
sure.
they had,
Mhm.
some personal fouls that they got that was just, I mean, taking your helmet off before the play's even you're dead and it's not even the turnover down
Yeah,
as anything. That
Deion
was
Sanders talked about that.
yeah, that's the stuff that you need to make sure you don't do because that's. And I think if I'm not mistaken, both of his sons got flagged on just dumb calls like that. I mean,
Yeah.
so they need to kind of clean up, those sharp edges, get smart about it. It's still college football. Let's get smart, and I think they may be okay. But I agree with you, Jaden. I think they need to get smacked one good time to see how they bounce back.
I just want to see them
I
develop. How will they perform?
I
Go ahead, Cody.
think that USC game very well might be that game
The true
that
test.
the true test. Yeah, I believe that game will be very very difficult for them to succeed in, and I think that if they don't prevail during that game, I don't know how far they will go after. Now, it's possible that they may win every game after this one, but I mean, like you were talking before, where does the hype end? And I think if they do lose that game, a lot of the hype will be dropped.
There's
A
possibility.
lot of that,
It
the
won't totally
momentum.
end. Yeah, the momentum. That's a good word to put it. I don't think their hype will necessarily drop. It will definitely, I think, eventually become stagnant if they start underperforming, I guess. Let's not act like Shador Sanders is not like insane at the
Yeah,
game
Oh,
because
he's
in two
great.
he's
games
good.
Yeah,
he
and
has almost 1,000
and
passing
believe me,
yards.
not any of us here is saying that Colorado sucks. We're just
No,
saying
I am
No,
not.
that
not at
we
all.
wonder what they're going
I'm
to be
just
like when they actually face somebody that's worth facing.
and I'm happy for Colorado fans. Like it actually fills me with like a sort of giddy joy to see, hey, these fans have been through the ringer and they are like doing great right now, right? And it's still early. It actually makes me happy to see them succeeding. But the thing is that I feel like I'm not going to say delusional, but I feel like they're getting up on a high horse a little bit because there's hype from the media. The Colorado fans are hyping them up like, we'll take everybody. Deion Sanders being Deion, Mr. Primetime himself, you know how he was if you watched any of his NFL stuff.
Yeah,
I was,
and not to cut you
whatever.
off, but there was a
Yeah,
moment
go
in the
ahead.
game that his son did his little primetime dance in the end zone.
Yeah.
Mhm,
I
yeah,
was like, that's a nice callback
yeah.
right there.
Yeah, it is. It was. I was going to bring that up too, or earlier, but
Sorry, I
uh,
didn't mean to cut you off
no,
there, but yeah.
no, it's fine. It's fine. Um, but yeah, it makes me happy to see them doing good. But I just I don't know if they're as good as what the media is trying to say. And of course they're predicted. I'm not gonna say media is trying to say because what they're predicted to not win majority of the games on the schedule. You said that earlier. So it's not
Yeah,
that the media
no,
is
it's
really hyping them up,
well, I
but
mean, even before the
it's
first
a
game, they were everybody in media, everybody in commentary was saying they won't even win a game this season. They were predicted to lose every single one of these games,
yeah,
and like I said, they're already doing better than they did last year. So they already
100%.
won in my book.
Oh, for sure. Even if
Yeah,
they don't win another game for the schedule, they have already progressed in
but I
terms
think
of the
they can.
year.
I think they can possibly. I don't know
They'll
if
be fine.
I don't. There's no way to me in my mind, and I could be wrong. I was wrong on some of my picks last week, rightly so. But there's no. I don't think they're a contender for the championship, and if they think that, I don't know if they're just. I mean, guys, they're not going to face the Georgia and walk away unscathed. They'll be
Yeah,
bloodied.
yeah.
I will say I gave Colorado this game by 2 touchdowns. It ended up being like 3. So even though my pick for the win was right, my score was down by 1. So I would say I was fairly close about this pick about Colorado winning over Nebraska with 2 touchdowns. I was crazy. We thought it would. Of course, the game I wouldn't say it was close really, because that's 3 scores. Like Colorado definitely had it in control, but they were sloppy with their execution.
Mistakes.
But
There was a lot of
yeah, just
mistakes.
mistakes, and they were giving up a lot of sacks and stuff. So
Mhm.
And that's fine. I
mm,
mean, it's
that
second.
happens.
It
That
this
happens.
is new for them. It's new for that program. Yes, definitely.
Yeah.
There's going to
But
be
yeah,
some
that's
issues.
just that's just my whole quarrel with Colorado is that I don't hate them. I'm not against them.
No,
I
I'm in
want to
their
see them
corner.
success.
I
I am
am
as
in their
well. I'm like,
yeah.
hey, dude, I want to see their games. I want to watch their games. Actually, I've missed both of them because I was like, Colorado, who cares? And I missed this one because I actually don't remember when it was played, like what time. I don't even know if I had it either. But I just want to know when the decline starts, not because I'm like some, you know, I don't know, evildoer, some evil mastermind, like, I want to see Colorado fall. It's like, no, I just want to see what they do when they're cornered, their backs are against the wall. Are they going to come out swinging? They go swing back and fight back to the last breath, or are they just going to give up pretty much? Because there's a lot of hype, stigma around their name, around their players, and a lot of people still don't believe in them, which is fine. I'm not saying I like truly believe in them, like, oh, they'll go all the way, but they can be deadly. I think we all can agree they can be deadly. They have good
Mm.
players. I just
Yeah,
want to
and
know when their true test happens and what happens then.
I think if even if they were in a different situations, those some of those key players could really build a program up even stronger. I mean,
Oh, for sure.
given the right support group and the right, not saying Deion Sanders ain't that right support group, but that program's not as big as some of these other programs like in the
And
SEC,
here's the thing. Deion Sanders, him and of itself, is a publicity like ad.
Oh,
The
absolutely.
advertisement he gets.
He's
And
going
think
to get
about this. You're a
recruiting
you're a
out the.
you're a high school. Oh, I know. Think about this. You're a high school student getting ready to go to college, and Primetime himself offers you a scholarship.
Oh,
Uh,
you can't turn that
Are you
down.
telling me you're
Yeah.
not going to Colorado at that point? I would go. I
Yeah,
think if
absolutely.
Tennessee and Colorado came up to me, bro, and was like, "Hey, you can go play at Tennessee where Manning and Eric Berry and Adrian Foster or Arian Foster, I mixed up his name or whatever, and a bunch of these legends at Tennessee played, and your favorite team, you go play with primetime himself, Deion Sanders, who ran the NFL.
He's going to
All
be your
right,
coach.
and he's gonna be your coach. Who
Yeah.
you picking? I'm gonna be like, look, Tennessee, bro. I
Yeah.
love you, but I think I have to go. That would make a great
I would at
story,
least have to
dude.
go
I
play
play
some
with
downs underneath,
like
Dion.
imagine exactly. Like imagine like you're meeting new people or even have children one day. Like, yeah, I played with Deion Sanders. He was my coach.
He was my
Like
coach
that's
back in college.
insane.
That's an
That's
insane
insane.
story. Yeah.
So like people are gonna want to go to Colorado just because Deion Sanders is there, you know, and the economy. And I heard this in the press conference. The economy around Boulder has exponentially increased. Like merchandise has flew out the fucking windows because Deion Sanders is like going crazy in Boulder, Colorado because they're winning games and people are like, I don't know, they're just happy about it, rightfully so. But
Well,
There's
they
yeah,
15 people that live
congratulations,
there.
Colorado.
their game was sold out. They were overbooked. I
Oh
think
yeah,
they ended up putting 3,000 more people in that stadium than capacity. So I mean, it was crazy that
it was
they're
definitely
that
crowded.
big. Yeah. So I mean, it's hey, I'm in their corner. I will root for them, but will I see them in the playoffs? No, I don't think so.
I also don't know if they're good enough to beat a Big Ten or an SEC team.
No,
I
no,
know that
no,
sounds crazy to say, but I don't know.
no.
I just don't think they
I think they
can.
would
I
have
think I
some
said that
troubles.
last time. I think I said that last time, or I heard it from somebody, and I'm just repeating it subconsciously. But I don't think they're good enough to beat a Big Ten or an SEC team, just from what I've seen right now. But yeah, not
Things
to
can
dwell on
change.
Colorado no more.
Yeah, things
Things
can
can
change.
change, but not to dwell on Colorado
Mm.
no more. But yeah, I just want to see, what they can produce when their backs are against the wall. But yeah, that's pretty much all I have for the Colorado Nebraska game.
All
Unless you
right.
guys have anything
I
else to
mean, I
say.
don't. Well, you got anything, Cody?
Yeah, I mean that pretty much sums it up. Yeah.
So, who do we want to talk to about next? So, see, we got. I'm going to kind of scratch some of these off here. We talked
Um,
about Stanford, USC, Oregon, USC Davis, Florida. I think when you talk about a game, let's throw an upset in here because I watched this game and I was kind of giddy about this upset because I thought it was funny.
Okay.
Washington State
I knew it. I knew it.
Mhm.
I
and
was thinking the
Wisconsin
same thing.
did not
So-
see that one coming.
We're calling the picks from last time we talked. It was me and Dustin picking Washington State over Wisconsin. I don't remember the scores. What was it, like by a field goal or a touchdown?
Yeah.
I think we predicted.
We
And
were
Cody
looking at
went
the
with
stats.
Wisconsin.
Yeah, we were looking at
Yeah,
the
and
stats. And we're like,
me and you were convinced, like, oh yeah, the stats for Washington State's better, like actually exponentially better. And then that was the picks. It was me and Dustin against Cody for this game. Not like we really like. It's not like
no, we
we
just pick.
care that
we
win.
don't care
We're
about
just
this
picking. It's
game.
not that we really
Yeah.
care about who wins the picks. It's just that was the picks that we had. But I watched this game. I watched
I
this
did
game,
too.
and I will say how good game.
Yeah,
Good game. I like this game.
it was back and forth
Mm.
for most of the game, and it just Washington State came out the victor. Wisconsin couldn't do anything in the fourth. As there's all there's to it, you know.
No.
And Washington State coming out and beating them. Man, I was watching
Now
that
they're
and I was like,
ranked.
"What?" Yeah, I mean, they're coming in
They were
ranked on this.
19th. Wisconsin was.
Yeah, Wisconsin got knocked out.
They're a Big Ten team.
So
Oof.
yeah,
Rough, Wisconsin.
Washington State's going to be at 23 now. So they took they didn't get to the Wisconsin 19, but they definitely took some spots away. So that was
2-0
interesting.
Washington State.
Yeah,
2-0.
who would have thought that name would have popped up in the top 25 at the beginning of the season? That blows my mind.
I have no idea.
So I mean, I watched that game. I thought it
Second
was good.
week.
Yeah. I mean, it's another team. Will they last in the top 25? Probably not. But
no.
Probably
But
upsets are upsets,
that
and I
upsets
love
Wisconsin,
upset.
so-
Yeah, I love upsets.
I actually
and-
don't have much to say about this game, which sounds sad. Like the stats were pretty even for the most part. that I'm looking at.
Yeah, they are. I mean, there's really not much to
So-
talk about. I mean, they were evenly matched. But
yeah, Wisconsin just played better,
yeah,
you know.
or what Washington State played
Or
better.
sorry, Washington State. Sorry, yeah,
Yeah.
they're both W's for some reason. And I
Washington
was like,
State played better. They were just the better
yeah, Washington
team.
State played better. Yeah.
So I mean, it was a good game, but yeah, upset. I like upsets, and this was good. Cody, you got anything to add to that mix? Since you picked
I think-
Wisconsin,
Yeah, since you lost, loser. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. Just kidding.
I think Wisconsin really tried hard. I mean, they did for what they did. Honestly, it was a back and forth game. It's just like when we got into the fourth quarter, I think it was 22-24 when they went into the fourth quarter, and then
yeah,
just that touchdown at the end kind of sealed the deal for that game. So I mean, there's really nothing much to say about it. I think, who was the quarterback for Wisconsin? I can't remember.
Cameron Ward, I believe. No,
yeah.
is it Cameron Ward?
That's
I believe that's
I-
his name. Or is that what
no,
Washington
that's
State's?
Washington State.
Oh no, it's Tanner Mordecai.
Tanner
Mordecai.
Mordecai.
Sorry, Cameron Ward is. He was. Sorry.
Washington, yeah.
He tried. Yeah,
I mean, he didn't play
Tanner-
bad. 25 for 40. It's about
That's
yeah,
it's
it's
just
about
a
half
little.
a completion.
That's just a little over 50%. So.
So yeah,
not
I will
great.
say Cameron Ward played the better game.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was definitely Cameron Ward. He not only hit the most rushing yards on his team, but they were pretty much pass dominated. So it was
Oh, for sure.
it was close game. Close game.
Yeah,
Close game.
for sure.
Upset though, so I like upsets.
Yeah, I don't have much to say, but
All
good
right.
job, Washington State.
So let's go ahead and move on to one that you kind of alluded to earlier, and we'll talk about it. Oregon and
Okay.
Texas Tech.
I demand an apology from
Mm.
Cody this today. I talked about how Texas Tech is not a pushover team and they're better than what people thought they are, and Cody was like, I don't know what Jaden's talking about. I'm picking Oregon. I don't know what I don't know. And I demand an apology for what Texas Tech
I think
did to
I
Oregon.
think they held their ground, and that is more than I expected.
Okay,
So,
Texas Tech
That's
is
all
my
you're
favorite
getting.
Texas
Oh,
team.
apparently
Believe it or
that's
not,
all you're getting.
Texas Tech
yeah.
Texas Tech,
That's
believe it or not, is my favorite Texas team. I would much rather root for Texas Tech over regular Texas Longhorns, A&M, a Houston team, whatever other Texas team there is. I don't know. But we all picked Oregon for this game
Yeah, we
by at
all
least a
Yeah.
touchdown.
yeah.
It was right. I picked it by at least a touchdown, a score, and it was
Now, it was
38.
very slim. It was very slim. I think that touchdown was like in the, 35 seconds or something like that?
Yeah, Texas Tech scored a little too fast and gave the ball back to Oregon. The game was crazy. If you haven't watched the highlights, you should watch the
Yeah, it
highlights
was a
because
crazy
it was crazy. Texas Tech was running they were slinging the rock, running the rock through them. But then Oregon would have times where their defense is immaculate and they would have times where their offensive is explosive. That's why I said that earlier that Oregon can, in the sense of probability, have an explosive offense and a deadly defense, but then they're inconsistent because Texas Tech is not a bad team. Are they the best to ever play the game? No, they're not. But they've never really been a bad team at all. They've also had a decent program, and I just think that Texas Tech is better than what people think they are. And they almost put the hurting on Oregon. They could have won this game.
It could have been
And
another upset.
I say this truthfully because if Oregon in the first quarter, during their first touchdown, didn't go for 2 randomly instead of kicking a field goal and making it 7-0, they made it 8-0. And I was like, okay, that's weird. And I actually want to believe that's the only reason they won that game because they went for 2.
Yeah.
Like that's like playing against someone in Madden who just goes for 2-point conversions all the time for no reason. So
Automatically
anyway, good job,
kick.
Oregon. Whatever.
Yeah, but
But
it was a good game. That was a
it was a
good
great
game.
It was a good game.
Definitely worth watching. Definitely worth going back and watch the highlights on. So, yeah, that was a good game. All right, who do we want to talk about next? Do we want to get into where I think I deserve the apology because both of
Dustin can
y'all,
run.
both of
Dustin,
y'all
I did
told
not clown
me.
you.
I
I
know
did
which
not
one you're
clown you,
talking about.
Dustin. I just said I actually can't believe you're doing this, but I respect it. You said I made fun. I did not make fun of you, but I can see
No.
how it may have sounded that way.
No, what I said, what I mean by that is y'all couldn't believe that. I think what y'all were, what you think I was doing was just because I wish they won.
No, I said that in the thing, and I want to make that clear. I was like, I know I said that. You was like, no, I'm not picking them because I want them to win, and I said that while you was talking. I was like, no, I don't. I'm not saying you are. I'm not saying that's what you're doing. Just to be clear, I didn't think that's what you were doing. The stats, you were picking it off the stats, and that's fine. I just picked it off the talent. I
Yeah,
just picked it off the talent, and
and
Jalen Remo underperformed.
I know why you were kind of going the way you did because there you had good reasons. Don't get me wrong. You know that clown on ESPN that was talking about like he's going to have 5 seconds in the pocket.
Time in
Hey,
the pocket.
I'm going to tell you right now. He had some
Hey,
time in the pocket.
He did. You're right. He did.
So, they showed up.
Proved me wrong.
And if you haven't figured out what we're talking about yet, if you listen to our last week's podcast, we're talking about Alabama and Texas, the upset, the one I thought was going to happen the way it did, and it did. And I'm just so glad because 2 UT teams beat Alabama in a row, and now they've got to hold that against them no matter what. That they've lost to 2
For the
UT
rest of the
teams.
year.
Yeah,
Yeah.
2
They
years
have
in a row.
Nick Saban is fuming at the mouth right
Well,
now. He is
A lot of
actually
people are
fuming.
saying
He's
this is
got
the Saban
spit
dynasty's over
coming
after
out of
that
his
game.
mouth. Yeah.
Oh,
I
I
don't
was,
believe so,
I was.
but-
Jaden sent me a video of Nick Saban raging through the years and stuff, and
Yeah.
if you watch this game, go back and watch it. He looked like an old, defeated man. He
looked like life was shaved off of him.
Yeah, he looked like he was just. I mean, he was just defeated. I mean, like he can't take it no more. I mean, this was a dynasty. You know, Alabama was ranked number 3, which I didn't think
That's
was.
not happening forever.
I didn't think they were rightly deserved to be number 3. Don't get me wrong. I think they were supposed to be lower than that. But Texas, a team that's coming into the SEC next year, I knew was going to be a problem for Alabama. And I thought just because of what they had produced before and last year, they gave Alabama a run for the money. I figured that this was going to be close, and I thought that Texas had enough to pull out the win, and they did by 10.
I'll say it. I'll come clean. I'll say it. Not only did Texas Tech, or sorry, not Texas Tech. I'm still thinking about that game. Not only did Texas Longhorns, baby, go or prove me wrong, but I will say I guess it was the a little bit of arrogant side of me that thought that Texas just wasn't good enough. Maybe because it's their stuff that they pull saying they're the real UT and they're the true orange and white team, and maybe that played into why I just think Texas didn't have it. But you know what? They played a good game, a great game,
Oh yeah,
even, and they
absolutely.
proved me wrong.
Yeah.
And I will now say, I guess you do belong in the SEC.
No.
I think so. I think they're well deserved to be in the SEC.
I
After
mean, they
this
were
game.
joining no matter if they beat Alabama
Oh
or
yeah,
not. But
but deserve
me-
wise, they deserve to be in it now.
they deserve it, I guess.
Yeah.
So I mean,
But
it
yeah,
was
they
I
were
will
great game.
say,
crazy game.
I think that
Crazy.
I think this is going to add up to some things though. Obviously, you've got the amazing the great football quarterback of Texas that Quinn Ewers that
Yeah,
did great
Ewers.
that entire game. He did great, okay? And nobody can deny that. Now, I will say that since he's done so great, he will more than likely remain in that position for probably every game at all times. Now, obviously, if he gets hurt, they'll probably put in the what is it? Let's see, what's
It
his
will be
name?
Arch Manning.
You think so? You think it'll be
Yes.
Arch?
It will definitely be Arch Manning. There's no way they don't play Arch Manning after Quinn Ewers gets injured this season. If he does, not saying I
Yeah,
want him to. I hope he doesn't.
Yeah,
He's great. He's an amazing quarterback.
but
And he's just a
now they have
sophomore.
something.
Yeah.
Now, I think they have work to do still. I think they still have work to do if they want to prove themselves to be uh, maybe a playoff team.
I'm gonna say it. I think they could beat us.
I think so
Oh,
too.
yeah, I mean,
we'll get to that
I think we'll
abomination
get
of
to
a
that
game.
game in a
saddened by
minute. But, they have some work though. They have some work cut out for them. Obviously, this is a big win for them, but I think that if they're going to remain in the hot seat for long, they have some work cut out for them.
Well, I mean,
I
Oh.
think they've got more games and they've got more times to prove themselves. But they need to put in the work. They need to continue to keep this ball rolling.
I'm just looking at and we will talk about the AP polling at the end of this, but I'm just looking at the top 4 right now, and the only one I think that they would probably struggle with a little bit, and I think they could still win, is Georgia. I think they blow out Michigan. I think Florida State will give them a run for the money, but Georgia, I think, will give them. Hey, I'm just saying it what it is.
Whoa.
I'm just
You
saying
think
what
Texas beats Michigan?
Oh,
Okay, we're not
all
gonna
day
talk about
long.
that. We're
All
not gonna
day
talk
long.
about this.
All day
I
long.
am gonna have to respectfully disagree, but
What?
yeah, I disagree. I don't think Michigan is gonna get beat by no Texas team.
Oh, I think so. I think so
I
all
don't.
day long.
I'm sorry, I can't. I can't.
I think they destroy Ohio State, USC.
That I
they'll
could see.
destroy
Ohio State's
USC.
it's kind of bad this year. I'm gonna be honest.
I think
I think we
out
could
of
beat
the
Ohio
top,
State.
Top. Let's see. Out of top 6, I think the only 2 that would give them problems is Georgia and Florida State.
I think Texas could beat Florida State. I don't even see them beating Michigan,
What?
and I don't even see them beating Georgia.
I think so.
I said it. I said it.
Georgia's had a rocky defense, or sorry,
I-
rocky
I
offense.
can agree.
Rocky offense.
I can agree, and I'm not. You have reason to believe that. You have
Yeah.
perfect logic and reason. I am not discrediting you. It's just I don't think in a hypothetical world, let's say it's mid-season, maybe late season, Texas is playing a Michigan or Georgia, no shot. If it's an early game, I think you have a point. If it's an early week game, Texas could beat a Georgia or a Michigan at a start of a season. But I don't think late to mid-season they even have a chance to beating a refined Georgia and Michigan team.
I'm saying it. Y'all call me crazy all you want. I'm just saying
It's
it.
dumbfounding. I won't say you're crazy, but I can't get on that train yet.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Okay.
I can't get on that train yet.
All right. We'll see.
But I respect your
we'll,
take.
We'll see what happens at the end of the season. I will be
Oh,
waiting for my apology when it comes.
there will be no apology. But to real quick, I will say that not to take credit away from Texas, they played great defense and great offense. But Jalen Milroe, bro, what are you doing?
That's the question.
What
right
are you
there.
doing? You you literally hung yourselves this game. Not to mention, it's like you were playing chess, like hanging a piece in chess. You're just hanging it, waiting for it to be taken. But in chess, that has sort of a strategy because you can bait a capture. Now, we're not going to go into chess logic. We're not going to be talking about that, but that's kind of the analogy I'm making. I saw that interception you threw, Jalen Milroe. You were hanging your wide receiver, and what's the term for it? Scanning the field, or you're scanning this one receiver, and you're totally easy to read from these safeties and corners, bro. You're looking at one receiver, and now I know your eyes can shift in your head, and you can be your head looking in a direction, but you're like looking left or right. But you weren't doing that.
He's
You were just
telegraphing.
looking at a receiver. Yeah, you're
Yeah.
telegraphing. That's perfect. Thank you. That's kind of the other word I was thinking about. He's telegraphing his moves, and he's trying to hang this receiver out there in I don't know, the 30s or 40 yards down the field, and he throws this pass like near the flats, and this safety just boom out of nowhere takes it to, I think he was a pick six or he got close to scoring it. But dude, what are you doing? Underthrowing. He looked like Joe Milton. I'm sorry, he looked like Joe Milton over and underthrowing passes downfield. I don't know why they didn't run him more. They just didn't run Jalen Milroe in the entire game for some reason. I don't know why they didn't at least try to get Jalen Milroe a little bit more active, get his feet running. But hey, not taking anything away from Texas, but Alabama definitely shot themselves a couple times this game. But hey, Texas, good job.
I
I'm glad you
mean,
won this game.
it's just crazy. They blew out their last opponent. I mean, as they usually do. Because I think, if I'm not mistaken, I'm trying to find it here. Last year, most of their games, if not all of them except for Texas, were in the 50s pretty much last year.
Yeah.
And then the only game that they had problems with was Texas last year, and it was at 20-19. And Texas comes out and holds them again to
In
20
their home.
in
At
their
home in Alabama. In Tuscaloosa.
24 points is all Alabama could produce. 24. You went from
Great
56
defense.
to 7, and they come out and hold you to 24 points. I'm just
Great
saying.
defense, Texas.
I will say, not to project for, we'll talk about this in a couple of days, but the South Florida game, sorry guys, y'all about to just get beat the snot out of for what Texas just did to Alabama. So, rest in peace, South Florida. That's all I'm saying. So
Poor South
It's gonna be rough.
yeah, it's going to be bad. Okay, so we'll move on from there. Where do we want to go to after this?
You know what? Why not talk about the Ole Miss and Tulane game?
Ole Miss and Tulane.
I think me and Dustin picked Tulane,
I think we did.
and Cody picked Ole Miss. That was the picks.
Hmm.
And boy, was I upset that Tulane lost.
I thought they was going to do something.
They were doing good, man.
Yeah, they
and then
were.
Ole Miss just got enough of it, I guess.
The first half, they were putting some good scores, like good drives,
Mhm.
and it's like when they went into the half, they came out and they were asleep.
They got tired.
I guess I don't
I
know.
mean, the games were pretty equal. I mean, the stats were sort of equal,
It
except
wasn't
for this
Ah.
15 to 37 pass rate or completion from Kai Horton. That's terrible. That's awful.
Yeah, it's bad.
15 and 37 with one touchdown and one interception. They dominated on rushing, but
Yeah,
wait, no, let me see that for sure. Tulane's rushing yard, yeah. Well, I wouldn't say they dominated. It was 111, but
11 to 89.
like I don't know, Tulane, what happened?
I don't
there?
know what went on with them. They went in the half and they fell asleep, couldn't wake back up, and let Ole Miss come back and waylay them. I thought for certain this was going to be another upset. I really did. I thought the Green Wave could do something.
Definitely a good game. I
Boy,
watched
was
this
I
game.
wrong. I did too.
Yeah, we were wrong. We were.
Mhm.
Oh man.
Put a little too much faith in that Green Wave, I guess.
Yeah, Ole Miss. Congratulations. I
Yeah.
guess.
All right.
I will say,
Oh,
I
you
mean,
got some.
that
Go
one,
ahead, Cody.
the fumble return at the end of the game, I don't even remember. I think that one was kind of funny, to be honest with you.
I don't know
I
what
think it
happened to
was
Tulane.
like a minute and 25 seconds left. I think they had just kicked the field goal, and then Tulane just fumbles the ball, and they get a return.
Yeah, that was
I don't know.
rough.
I think I think that game was very rough for Tulane.
It was good in the first half. It just fell apart. Like I don't know what that coach told him in the lockers in halftime, but it may have been just all right, guys, take a nap or something. I don't know because it was not
I
the
don't
same
even
team that came
understand.
out. So I don't know. Crazy.
Sad.
Yeah, definitely. Alrighty. I think okay, we'll talk about this game. Me and Jade were both. I think did you pick the same on this one or
I
not?
don't know which one are you
The
talking
North
about.
Carolina Appalachian State.
Yeah, we picked Appy. We were
Yeah,
Oh,
both
we picked
Appy,
Appy.
and
yeah.
Cody
But
was no
hey,
C.
I'm okay with being wrong on this one
Double
because
OT. That's all I'm
double
saying. Double OT.
OT. Yeah.
It's just like my Texas Tech game. I'm sorry.
Double
Hey, we
overtime.
said we could do it. Cody may have. It's not that I lost. It's not like I said. It's not that we really care about our picks. That we're picking amongst ourselves and who we want to win. But me and Dustin pulled for Appy this game, and they almost done it. Just
Hey,
like Texas Tech
double
almost done it
overtime.
against Oregon.
Double overtime. I mean, I saw some fire. I knew they were going to come in this game trying to upset North Carolina. I
And
knew
they
they were
almost
going to,
did
and
it.
they almost did. I mean, they it was very close, and they would. I think they would they have. I'm trying to think because I watched the end of the game there. I like cut in and out of the game because I was watching the Tennessee game during this.
Yeah.
But I went back to it, and I think at the right before the end of the game, Happy State was trying to ice the kicker, and the kicker missed the field goal. Okay,
Yeah.
yeah, I missed the field goal, and he iced him, and he was like, "Crap!" And then he missed it anyways, and it went into overtime. So they almost just lost the game outright. But it was a close game. Fourth quarter, they could have stepped it up a little bit better than they did to make sure they secured it. But it was back and forth. I mean, it was definitely a war. And I don't mind
agree.
being
I
wrong with
agree.
that one.
I don't mind being wrong either.
I
With my
think
pick.
I think Appalachian State definitely had a lot more going for them going in this game. I think they definitely prepared a lot more compared to what I believe them to be doing.
I'll never sleep on that
And-
team. I will never sleep on because they have proved themselves time and time out again to be a competitor with some of these bigger schools. I mean, number
They're
17
crazy,
North
man.
Carolina, you coming into their turf and putting 34 points on them, going into double
And almost
overtime.
losing.
I mean, that's crazy. That's good ball game. That was a good one to watch. I figured they may pull it out, and they almost did. So I don't mind losing that one.
This was a little run heavy for North Carolina, though. They
Yeah.
did run for 319. They passed for 208. Appalachian had more passing and less rushing, but dude, wow.
I think they can hold their heads up high when they came out of that game.
I do too.
Just fine. I
I do
mean,
I mean, Appalachian did have more time of possession, so I will give them that. They definitely had the ball a lot more. They definitely played with it a lot.
Yeah, I believe it was turnovers. I don't know how many turnovers they had. Appalachian State had no fumbles. They had one interception,
They
two
did,
punts.
yeah. They did throw it in.
They were 2 for 3 fourth down efficiency, and they had 30 first downs, and they were 8 for 17, about half or about 50% on third down efficiency. So I guess it was just North Carolina had a decent defense, and they made one mistake, which was an interception, and they punted twice. Well, they both punted twice, but
it was a dogfight.
7 penalties.
Yeah,
So
that'll hurt.
7 penalties. I just believe it was minor mistakes that
Yeah.
Appalachian State had. I think
It was definitely
we
a good
lost to
game
'em.
to watch, and I'm glad I'm glad that they got as close as they did to winning.
No, I feel
They
like
did
if they
lose
ran
3
it back,
spots.
if
Yeah.
they played again, I think it could be Appalachian State's game.
This possibly could have been.
But yeah, that was a great game.
All right, so where are we at now? All right, we talked about the Appy State game. Ooh, we'll talk about another upset, and a game that I don't know if I can't remember who picked what on this one, but Texas A&M and Miami. Did we
Yeah,
not?
you were surprised when I said Miami beat Texas A&M. And you're like, "Wait, what?" in the
Yeah,
chat or whatever. I think we all picked Texas
I
A&M.
think we did. Did not expect Miami to pull that one
They
48
did
to
it.
33. Like
Yeah.
what? What happened? I mean,
I watched that game. I watched the
I will say I did not watch this game because I did not expect it to be anything to watch it. I mean, what?
Yeah, it was good. It was a good game. I
48
mean, when you have
33.
Tyler Van Dyke throwing for 5 touchdowns and 374 yards, yeah, it's a good game.
Yeah, I
21
guess
and
so.
30.
Yeah, that is pretty good.
I
5
mean,
touchdowns too. That's pretty crazy.
did not expect that. When you told me that, I was shocked. I did
I
not.
mean,
Crazy.
that was insane.
But I do love an upset.
Great game. It was a good game.
So that's
This puts Miami what 22? Yeah, 22.
Mhm.
yeah,
in the
put him in.
AP
That brought
poll.
him into the top 25.
Will Miami do good for the rest of the season? I don't know. I don't think they beat. I don't know. They could beat North Carolina. No, they don't. They don't beat North Carolina.
I
Actually,
don't know. Yeah.
I don't know about that.
Yeah, I don't know. I think they got some. They got some people they're going to have to face that may put some hurting on them. Will they stay in the top?
at this
25?
point, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. It's too early to tell on this one, but hey, an upset's an upset. I like upsets, so especially when it's not
Clemson,
against
I
my
don't
team.
know.
If we might as well be an upset for what we just witnessed Saturday against
So
Tennessee.
let's go ahead and talk
Yeah.
about it. All
Yeah,
right,
let's just get out of the way.
let's pull the
Man.
Band-Aid. It's been almost an hour. We haven't addressed it yet, so
We've been denying it.
All I want to say to start out with, take the fucking butter off of your fingers. Quit rubbing butter on your hands before you play the
Vaseline
game.
hands, man.
Yeah, quit putting butter on your hands. Joe Milton, throw it a tennis ball or something. Or throw it a something. Throw it a semi truck and learn how to throw. You know what I mean?
Well, here's my problem, and I can't remember who I was talking. I don't know if it was the wife or if it was someone else, but I was saying, look, quarterback 101, lead your passer. Lead your passer. Stop throwing it off their back shoulders, especially when you're throwing the ball at 140 mile an hour at them. You know, it's hard enough for them to actually catch that ball. Stop throwing it behind your receiver. That's ridiculous. I don't know how many passes he did that to him. And I read the Twitter comments. Well, the receivers need to be, that was in their hands. Yeah, it's 140 mile an hour when they're having to reach back off of their shoulder to try to get that ball. If it's
And when
out
you're
in
running
front
those
of them,
screen plays, and you're running those screen and flats plays, and you're throwing a ball that fast, the receiver has to hurry and try to concentrate on catching the ball, turning around, making an athletic move, and try to get yards. So now
Yeah.
they're trying to focus on catching the ball because if they don't, they're not. I know this is going to sound crazy, but I guarantee you that receiver is not thinking about catching that ball. He's thinking about, okay, when I get the ball, I'm going to have to cut up field. So now it's an afterthought, which sounds crazy because it should be first catch the ball, right?
yeah.
Catch the ball. But you're not expecting Joe Milton to shoot a gun pretty much, just
A
pull a pistol
shotgun
out and
slug
shoot his
at you.
receiver.
Yeah.
He
Well-
throws it, and by the time I see him throw the ball, it's incomplete pass. I'm like, what just happened? I don't even know what happened.
If you notice, every time they ran a screen, when the receiver's standing still, waiting for that ball to get to him, they catch it and they'll go. But if it's a slant and they're maybe a cross slant right across the middle of the field,
And they have to reach for it,
and they have
now
to
it's
reach
going through their
back.
hands.
It's going through their hands. Now, I
Yeah.
will say there was a
I-
couple of sloppy, do
passes
not
that should have
passes.
definitely been caught.
Yeah, I mean that
Yeah.
that happens, and it happens in every game. But the majority of his passes that he threw that were in the slant, or if it was out in the
A
wide,
vertical,
it
a
was
sail.
yeah, it was sailing over their heads. It was off their back shoulder. It's QB 101. Lead your passer. It should not be rocket science. I mean, what
I
are
mean,
you doing?
He's sending the ball to the moon with a rocket, pretty much.
I mean, I'm really sick of them hyping him up. Well, he can throw it 90 some yards. I don't know how many videos I've seen before the game.
I no
He
longer
threw it
care,
90
bro.
some yards. I don't care if he can throw it 90 yards. If he can't lead his passer and lighten the ball up a little bit where he's not throwing it 140 mile an hour at him, it ain't doing us no good. The receivers can't catch the ball. I don't know if the pros can catch that ball.
They probably have
Yeah.
a better chance, but good
That's
God.
I mean, honestly, that's what he would need to be successful. Is if he had pro players like NFL players coming on that field and playing with him. Now, granted, that
also-
might be a skill whenever if he gets drafted and moves on to another team in the NFL. I think that might be a skill for him, given the fact that he can throw the ball
Well,
fast and he
in
can throw the ball
NFL,
far.
they do a lot of deep passes, man. They have receivers in the NFL that can
that can
get
manage those kinds of
downfield.
Yeah.
passes. Yeah.
and catch fast bullet dots, man. I mean, I don't know how many people throw that fast, but when you have, I just look, man. I don't know.
It
and
kills
Josh
me.
Hype, it does me too. Like I watched the press conference, and Josh Heupel was talking about, or someone asked the question, like, so there was a lot of passes that your receivers dropped. What do you say about that? And it was like, well, did you see those guys? And he brought up Ramel Keaton. He was like, have you seen Ramel Keaton make amazing plays on the ball before? And the guy was like, yeah. And he was like, well, I have too. So it's like, we know they're capable of doing it. It's just they just didn't. I don't know what you want me to say. It's like we know they're capable of making plays. It's not that Ramel Keaton or these other receivers are falling off or they're bad. It's just we got that he just said we have some stuff we need to work on. Joe Milton, Josh Heupel brought up a good point. He was like, we are having a hard time settling into the game. And he was like, we're going against a tough opponent next week in their home in the
Mhm.
swamp. And I know we clowned on Florida a little bit, but I actually don't see us winning. We're favored by 5 points this game.
Yeah.
And Florida's coming off, and I know it was McNeese they played.
Mm-hmm.
They coming off a good win from McNeese, even though they're a nobody. If we do not fix our offensive problems, Florida will beat us this
Yeah.
game.
And I'm
And it'll be
begging.
bragging rights for the rest of the year.
I'm begging
yeah.
Heupel, please don't be a Pruitt, don't be a Jones, and just have your senior quarterback in because he's a senior. If he's struggling against Florida, take him out, put our freshman quarterback in, and let's see what he can do. The worst thing we
And
do is lose the game, which we'll probably do anyways if our senior quarterback can't slow down his passes and lead the receivers.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, you like that logic, but we should have played Nico more. We should have gotten him. I know he's been praised a lot by the coaching staff. He's been praised a lot, but he has amazing potential and talent. We should have played him in the Virginia game
Absolutely.
a little bit more. We should have played him in the Austin P game a little bit more.
Yeah, I mean,
I honestly think in the throwaway games, you should start the backups. That's what I think.
yeah, I think so too. I mean,
maybe not start them, but put them in at the second half or second quarter if you're demolishing them.
well,
come on.
That's the problem. We
Yeah,
didn't
we
demolish
wasn't. I
Austin
know.
P. That's the problem. We was struggling. Thank the Lord we had a running game at all, or we wouldn't have won
And
that
amazing
game.
That's something else
defense
I'd like to
carried
mention.
again.
I'd
Great
like to
defense.
mention something else. When we started running a lot during, I'd say about the half possibly or something like that, and we started running for about every other play, and then we started running about almost every play. Now I don't hate on running. I think running's probably the best thing to do when you can't pass, obviously.
Yeah, but
when
it's
we're
very
running every single play, and we're only making 2-yard, 3-yard gains, we're running down our downs. We're
Yeah.
running down first,
and
second, through
energy
third.
as
And
well
then we
from the
get to
players.
yeah, exactly. Jabari Small can't keep up with stuff like that. And
They know what's
I
coming
think,
every single time at that
Yeah,
point.
they can read it.
exactly. Exactly. We can't just rely only on running every single play. It's going to run down our downs. We're going to get to the fourth down before we even pass the 50. I mean, we can't just keep running and running. This isn't a running game. You have to know how to pass. You have to know how to make passes that will get you yardage.
It
You
won't
have
be a
to make
running game
passes that'll
versus
get you.
There's a
Alabama.
reason when a play action, there's a reason the play action is invented. This because if you run the
Yeah.
ball a lot, you go into play action and it's a fake handoff, and then you have a receiver burnt someone down the field and you get a
Mhm.
free or 30, 40 yards or a touchdown. But no, we can't even do that because Joe Milton throws it into the receiver's hand or out of their hands, through their hands.
Over
I
their
was talking to
heads.
my friends in the chat. I was like, I was talking to some friends in my one of my group chats, and then I was like, man, Joe Milton, I can't anymore. I was like, he's overthrowing, underthrowing. What's next? Through him? He's gonna through him this time? Just throw it straight through their body? Like, I mean, kill my receiver, kill him. He's dead. He has to get willed out. Like, what's going on next, man? I don't know. Like, I've lost faith. I've tried to hold in. I tried to hold on to that Clemson Joe Milton that we saw. I tried to hold on to it for as long as I could. The Clemson Joe Milton game he had, dude, was great. I thought Joe Milton played great during the Clemson Bowl game
But that's
when we
the
played Clemson
only
in the bowl
game that he's
game.
ever played good on. Let's
And
face
then I
it.
was like,
Yeah.
I mean, I know. And I was like, I have faith. Maybe this is fruits of his labor finally paying off. Maybe this is progression. It's like maybe this is a good thing. And then coming out first 2 games, I'm like, bro, why?
He has struggled.
First 2 games running. That was it. Running. That's all we have to show for.
Yeah.
Runs.
He's struggled
Defense,
both
too.
cupcake games. We are choking on these cupcake games, and it's sad. We should not be in this
We should
position.
almost just start Nico. I would say start Nico during the Florida game, right? But the problem is, I don't know if you can. I'm not going to say you can't, but I just don't know if a freshman quarterback coming in, going to the swamp, coming out of nowhere, hasn't really played big games, played a couple snaps during the Virginia game, come into Florida and perform well. That's nerve wracking, and rightfully so. I'm not going to blame him if he were to start and he plays awful because that's a rivalry
that's a
game. It's a
big
mental
game, yeah.
game.
Yeah.
It's important. There's a lot of
And we haven't won down there in a while. It'd be hard for him to get that, shake that off. And he may be able to do it. There's been freshman quarterbacks come in and really show some stuff, not at our school, but at other schools that's has happened. So I mean that's a possibility. But I'm just saying, if we get into a position, if you start Milton and you see that he cannot produce anything, don't be like these other coaches and just keep him in because he's a senior.
And it sucks to say that, man, because what I mean it sucks is that I don't, if you're just not performing well, like we can't afford to have you in the game,
Yeah.
That's not being harsh, and it's not trying to be mean to Joe Milton, but dude, you've showed us nothing.
Yeah, not a thing. You've
You've
not.
showed us nothing.
They're not on par with. They're definitely not on par with Alabama or Georgia. I don't think they're on par with
They
Florida
need-
right now.
They definitely need to open up the quarterback battle in practice, the QB starting battle, and see. But apparently, see, this is my problem. This is what I have a problem with. The coaching staff is praising Nico, but if you know anything about like those or position battles, right? Like let's take NCAA 14, the football game, right?
Yeah.
If you played Road to Glory or something, right, where you make a character, go through high school, and then you would get recruited to college. Usually, you won't start as a starter, or you won't be a starter depending on what team you go on,
Yeah.
right? You have to like win a position battle, right?
Yep.
And during practice during a day. I'm afraid that Nico is good enough to like be a starter if Joe Milton wasn't here, but I don't think he's better enough to be a starter since Joe Milton is here. You see, it's like a gray area. I'm afraid that's what's happening in practice. That Nico's really good to be a starter when Joe Milton's not here, but with Joe Milton here, he just can't be that replaced. And I know that sounds crazy for me to say, but I feel like there's a gray area going on in practice right now. They're praising Nico. They're saying he has great potential and he's good, but he still has a lot to learn about this game. I
Yeah.
feel like there's a gray area going on in the position battle with the quarterback that Nico is just, he can't be the starter. He can't take over for Joe Milton because I'm afraid he's just, I don't know. That's the best way I can explain it is that since Joe Milton here, he can't be the starter. He's not good enough.
I
But if Joe
I would
Milton was not here,
disagree.
he would be good enough.
I would disagree only because the simple fact is he's a starter. That's why, or not a starter, but he's a senior. That's why he's in that position. I think he's in that position.
That's
He's a
definitely
senior.
a factor.
I think that weighs more than what a lot of people would want it to be. I mean, because you got to think a lot of these. I mean, I don't know if Joe Milton probably will go in the NFL. He's got a big arm. I don't know if he'll go first round. Probably you may be looking at a 5th round, 6th round pick maybe, and because he's just not accurate, he doesn't produce the accurate throws. So he may go, but for some quarterbacks, their senior year, that may be their last year to actually play down a game. So that's weighs kind of heavy, even if you may have a player that is just as good as a freshman down at the bottom. And really, you can play. That's the thing. We've seen this with some older quarterbacks we've had. Garantano, they kept on praising him. Yeah, and he's great in practice. He's great in practice. But when it came to game time, he was garbage. Straight garbage. He won that spot in practice, but he came out garbage every single time. That's why we end up got Hooker in the first place. Hooker didn't win that spot. Garantano did.
He also proves himself in game.
Yeah.
Like it was during a Kentucky game, I think, that Hendon Hooker finally played his first start game against Kentucky and proved that he was the starter.
I say let's see
he
what
won
Nico
that battle
can do.
during a game.
Yeah.
I agree. I think Nico is probably just as good. I haven't seen anything from him. I have not watched practice. I don't even know if there is practice footage of Nico going ham, going off,
Oh, I'm sure
being
there,
good, being
I'm
better
sure
than
there
Joe
might
Milton.
be something.
But the thing is how does that transfer, that's the word I guess I can say, into the game?
We
You
don't
can't start him
know.
during Florida. I'm sorry. I can't agree with starting him against
Oh,
I
I
just
don't
can't.
say start him, but I'm just
Oh, I know.
saying
I'm not saying
if
I'm not saying
Milton
you are,
is
but
struggling, take
I
him
agree.
out.
Take him out.
Let's see what Nico could do. Because let's face it, if Milton has not proved himself to actually finish anything,
I'm nervous.
yeah. So
I'm nervous this week.
if he's struggling against Florida, at least take him out for a quarter, and let's see what Nico can do for a quarter. If Nico's doing better, keep him in. Because the worst thing we can do is still lose the game, and we have no idea what our freshman quarterback can do for the rest of the season. Going up against teams like Alabama, teams like Georgia, teams like South Carolina that's looking to whoop us again this coming year. So let's see what our freshman quarterback can do if our senior quarterback, who's got this amazingly bomb of an arm, can't hit a guy 10 yards in front of him.
And it's going to be important during this Florida game.
No.
We're going to need shots downfield 100%.
And I think that would make him so much more of a threat. If he were accurate, I believe Joe Milton could be easily
He could
I
be
agree.
amazing.
You make a great point because here's what I'm thinking. I would take the one-on-one receiver battles with the defender if you have someone like Joe Milton. Have the receiver run a vertical, when man coverage, one-on-one, throw it straight up, just throw it in the air, and have someone like Ramel Keaton fight for it in the air. And if they win that fight, boom. Then you have an amazing gain of yards or even a touchdown. Or if they're straight burning the receiver on the man coverage, they're like 5-10 yards ahead of them, and you throw and it's landed, perfect basket catch, man, cradle catch, boom, end zone, touchdown. But no, he doesn't. He throws it almost into the receiver's back, or into the receiver's back, into the defender's back.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't know, man. He's under and overthrowing it.
I think he bonked a defender's head one time.
Yeah, he did.
Hit him right in the back of the head. I mean, it's sad. Now, there's another thing that we need to touch on too, and I've not seen any reports on this, but I think it needs to happen. Is these refs for that game need to be fired, not suspended, fired, because that was the worst officiating I had ever seen in a college football game. It was horrible. How are you going to tell a whole team that you cannot review a fumble because you ran out of time?
I will say the officiating was a bit odd.
It was a blatant fumble. all they had to do was look up at the big screen. Everybody in the stadium seen
dude,
it.
Austin P was also dirt. Like they not
Oh, it
dirty
was
in terms
dirty.
of man, they're good players. Dirty. No, they were like awful. When I mean like they're not. They need to be suspended.
I hope they never get invited back to Tennessee. I really do. They don't
And
deserve
I have no
to come
malice
back.
against Austin P because they kept up with us. I guess no, it has nothing to do with it. It's
No.
that those tackles were dirty. Those blocks were dirty. Like they're what game are we playing here? What game are we playing? Are we playing
Blitz.
football? And I know everyone's like, dude, chill out. It's football. They're gonna get hit and hard anyway.
Nah, that
Yeah,
was
but
some
you
dirty hits.
don't illegal blindside somebody. That's bad. You don't send your crown of your helmet or your shoulder pad into someone's helmet.
That should
You
have
don't
been
do that.
targeting too. And even
The
that
only
announcer
reason
was
why I
like,
see they
the announcer was like, they're just making it up at this point because you can't keep the same rules because that was by definition targeting. He launched himself into that guy's neck and head area. How are you not calling that targeting? And even the announcer was like, yeah, at this point, we don't even know what targeting is because one game they'll call it targeting and
constantly
the next game
changing.
they won't. Yeah, it's constantly changing.
That's what I'm saying. Targeting is such a gray area now because it used to be, and I'm not going to say it used to be, and I could be wrong, and correct me for anyone, it doesn't matter. But it used to be the crown of your helmet. Leading with the crown of your helmet, crashing into another person's helmet was targeting. Now it's the shoulder. Or not just the helmet, but leading with the crown of your helmet to the head or neck area. Now it was with the shoulder. If you lead your shoulder pad into someone's head or neck area, it is targeting.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
And
That's fair. That's a
launching.
dangerous play. Yes. And launching.
Yeah. So they added some rules onto it, but they don't even follow any of those rules.
How do you define it now? Like you can tell some plays are blatant targeting, like okay, that's definitely targeting, and then there's some was like, okay, that's kind of this is kind of strange because it wasn't entirely there, like and it sucks because some player may not be they're not it's called targeting, which sounds weird because it makes it sound like the defender is malicious and they're trying to target the head. No, I just think some tackles or big hits go wrong and they crash into their head and it sounds like, oh, targeting, he's bad, get him out of the game. It's like, no, I believe there's some targeting calls that can go wrong and it was not, wasn't out of ill intent, it was by accident, but I believe there's some who try to do that and be dirty
and I
about
made
it.
a point about it because week 1, me and Jaden was watching a couple games together, and we watched a game. I can't remember which one it was, but the quarterback was going down, and it was at the Duke game, and they called it targeting, and I think it was called targeting right on that one. And I was watching a game this
that or
week.
late hit.
I think it ended up being targeting
because he was sliding, wasn't he? He was
sliding, and they
but
they called
he should
it
have
targeting.
dove.
Yeah,
that was the thing. The quarterback should have dove forward because you not only get more yards that way, but plus you wouldn't have gotten in that position.
Hit. But the
defender was already going. They did. The defender, unfortunately, was already going. He could not stop. I'm sorry. He couldn't have stopped himself if he wanted to.
No.
He was already going into the tackle motion with his shoulder, and he slid as soon as he went to that motion. It was synced up perfectly, and boom, it hit him.
But
and
the point
you can't
is,
fault the defender at that point.
What I'm trying to make here is in week 2, I was watching a game, and I can't remember which one it was. The exact same thing happened to the T. And the officiating crew called it not targeting.
And they called it a dead. No, it was during that Clemson and Duke game is one we're referring to, right? Where there was
a dead ball,
penalty or a dead ball play or something weird,
something like that. It was
I was
strange.
like, what does that mean? I was like, what does dead ball mean? He was down and he got hit and not how does that make sense? I don't even know what that means.
It was really strange. But the point is they can't even keep the same rules in every single game. Why have them that messed up? I mean, and then like I said, this officiating, there was pass interference calls against us a lot. Some of them I'll say, okay, I think they were a little bit too, faked. I mean, the guy ran into him I don't know how many times, knowing that the ball wasn't even going to get close to him. But the same thing happens to us in the end zone, and just like, no, that wasn't pass interference. It's the same play. It happened exactly the same way. and you don't call it the same thing. If your officiating crew is so corrupt, they can't keep the same rules
Bro,
in the same game, they need to be fired. No more chances for these officiating crews. They're garbage.
so I just looked this dead ball thing up because I've heard it here and there, past couple of years or something, every now and then. A dead ball play or whatever is by running out of bounds or you're deliberately downing yourself. That's a dead ball play. And since he downed himself, the Clemson or the Duke quarterback downed himself by sliding, it wasn't targeting because he downed himself. If it was a normal tackle, it would have been targeting. Like, what? How is that still not targeting?
But they called it targeting on that play, so which makes it
Yeah, but it
makes
made
it
it called
no
it targeting, but then it
yeah.
outclassed like it
It made no sense to how they even called it.
voided
Yeah.
it.
Oh,
I
that's
was like,
so
that
dumb.
doesn't even make sense. It's a
See,
dead ball play because he downed himself, but you're calling targeting, but it offset the penalty. What?
yeah, that makes no sense.
Does a running out of bounds late hit offset the late hit penalty? No, it doesn't. You still
Yeah,
get a late hit penalty and you get extra yards.
yeah, that makes no sense.
I don't know. Maybe I'm just wrong or something, but I don't believe so.
See, that's what I'm saying. Some of these officiating crews are so bad at what they're at their job. I don't understand how they're in
It's
that
making me
position.
question if I even know the game at this point. What's real at this point?
But
Can I kill someone on the field
and
and
I know people
not get penalized?
probably that listen to this, and I know we've been going on in Tennessee for quite some time now. But you know, we always claim, well, it's bad officiating, but this one was blatantly bad officiating. I mean,
It was
how are
the
you
whole game was
going?
bad.
How are you going to say that you can't review a fumble? That you ran out of time to review a fumble? How does that even make sense? I've seen reviews go on for like 10 minutes straight, but you can't review a fumble? That was so blatantly a fumble that
We're not totally blaming it on the officiating either. We played bad, but the officials played into that.
oh yeah, they and I'm not believe me, we went and ran on the quarterback and how bad he was,
Don't get me
Milton
wrong, we
was
have big quarrels
yeah,
about
we
that.
have some
Yeah,
bad issues there. Our offense is struggling. But the officiating did not help. They were on another
made it
level of
worse for sure.
horribleness. I mean, that they should get fired for. They should never officiate in college football again. And I hope no other team has to deal with this officiating crew because they were garbage.
Well,
So, but that's
but
my
yeah,
rant on
yeah.
Tennessee.
Do you have anything, Cody? I know you.
I mean, you've pretty much hit all the points, honestly, as far as that goes.
Because I know that sometimes I know me sometimes, and I know me and Dustin can talk a lot.
No, I mean, I, I mean, I'm just shaking here, nodding my head, honestly. I mean, it comes to the point wherever a lot of these refs, obviously, I mean, they all know what they're doing in a sense, but whenever it gets to the point where they actually have to make the decision on whether or not, for instance, if it was like a dead ball or a targeting play, I feel like some of them just falter in ways that to be in a position like that you shouldn't be faltering over. And I think it's being seen way too frequently now for this to be something that is normal, I guess you could say,
Oh, it's
in most
become
of
the
these
normal.
games. Like it is become the normal. Especially I mean, like we said, we've seen it in the Duke game, the Duke and Clemson game. We've seen it in the game Saturday. I mean, it's becoming too frequent for this to continue. I think a lot of these refs need to probably reevaluate and like state rules, specific rules for plays like this, especially since it apparently happens a lot in most of these games. So it, it's just a problem that shouldn't be occurring as much as it does.
All right. With that
But
said,
yeah,
let's move on. We've dwelt on the
yeah, it was.
bad game of Tennessee had, and we'll talk about a little bit more on the next episode of what we may see from the Florida game. But what games have we not talked about here?
Utah and Baylor, which I also watched that game. And I know not like whatever, but it was a close game, 20-13. I watched the Baylor and Utah game. Uh,
I mean, I
uh,
really could care less about either one of these teams. No offense to Utah fans or Baylor fans, but
I mean, I don't either. I don't care about these teams, but I'm only bringing it up because I'm and Utah for some reason has piqued my interest. And I thought about this when I had some talking like points um pre-made or pre-thought of that I was going to talk about last night, but n-
can't
we just
remember
didn't
them
do it
now.
last night. No, I can
Oh,
remember them. It's just Utah piqued my interest for certain reasons. Now, it does have something to do with the Florida game. We know Florida is not all that crazy, but I'm more concerned in Utah's defense, which they did again display against Baylor. But
okay.
it was a close game because both of the defenses somehow showed up. This was an interesting game. The passing for Utah, they're a run team. I've noticed that Utah runs a lot more than they pass. They only had 82 passing yards,
Yeah.
which is kind of crazy. Only 82?
He only threw 7 passes in the whole game.
No. He only threw 7, and they ran. But it was a low-scoring game. I think we picked Utah. I think we briefly talked about this game.
Didn't
I
think it
don't
was
wanna
going to be as
talk about
close
it
as it was.
we're not gonna talk about too much. It's not really that deep. It's just I'm still interested in Utah and see what they do because their defense looks fast. It could look like it can be dangerous, but I don't know if their offense can hold up against these bigger teams. I think Utah may fall out of the top 25 in the next coming weeks
I mean, it's a
against.
good possibility. I mean, you got
I think
UCLA.
Utah's had a decent run. I think they'll have a decent run, but I don't know, man.
They got some
Uh,
they got some tough games ahead of them.
yeah, not much to talk about the game. I think it's a little worth noting because I think Utah was still favored in this game, but Baylor, they're kind of not good anymore, and it's surprising that Baylor almost beat Utah.
Yeah, they were giving Utah like 46 on this one.
Really,
Yeah. So they underperformed definitely.
I could see why they were 46%. But yeah, not much to dwell over because I think what we need to talk about. I don't. Hopefully, you haven't missed anything. I'm looking too, but or we're looking at the games here because we do need to talk about the rankings for a split second
Yeah, we
for a little
got
bit. But I don't know
Notre
if you want to talk
we
about the Notre Dame.
I
Notre Dame
mean,
is that what we're doing
45
next?
24. That's still a little bit of a blowout. North Carolina State has their moments. So
Yeah.
I mean, he went 15 for 24. It's not great. It's not bad. 286
Huh.
yards, 4 touchdowns, which is pretty decent. Um, but Notre Dame was predicted to win this game. There wasn't a moment where North Carolina State um, really showed that they were going to win this game. So I mean, really, it
So
was
Notre
one
Dame
sided.
just Notre Damed
Yeah,
pretty
Notre
much.
Dame scored every single
Mhm.
quarter. I mean, they started out with a field goal. Second, they came out with 14. Third, they came out with another touchdown. And the fourth, they came out with 21. So I mean, they dominated this game. There wasn't a moment where there was any doubts that they were going to lose this one by any means. So Notre Dame's still getting some hype right now, which will in a couple of weeks probably come crashing down. But it should be a good game though in a couple of weeks.
Oh, for sure.
So
But yeah, I think that's
I think that's pretty much it, right? I think we
all the
covered everybody.
teams for the review.
Yeah,
And now I guess we need to quickly review because we were gonna do it both. We were we were I don't know if we was gonna do it as a separate
yeah. I
thing,
was going to do it
like
kind of
do the
separate. So we'll go ahead and
AP, but we have to do it this together. Yeah.
so uh so starting out. Actually, I want to go to the bottom because I want to start at the
Okay.
bottom, which I find is the most funniest thing of them all. First week, AP
Iowa.
top 25. Iowa's in the top 25 at the 25th spot.
Again,
And second week they drop out. Week 3 of the polls, basically Iowa's back in the 25th spot.
week 2 from a lot of people, but
Yeah,
wait,
it's
but
the
week 3 for some. But
it's the third poll so far. So
yeah, now they're back here somehow.
yeah, the
But
third
yeah.
poll they're back in the 25th spot. I'm just it cracks me up because I just like they won't go away. They're just
They're
coming
here to
back
stay,
up.
I guess.
They're just there to stay.
It's just
Clemson
odd.
officially dropped off as well.
Yeah, so the
Yeah, they're
4 teams that dropped out was Wisconsin, Clemson,
they do.
Tulane, and Texas A&M.
Clemson does still have a lot of votes they're receiving, so if Clemson still does good, they still can creep back into the top 25 over Iowa. I bet they're on the doorstep.
No,
I
I
bet
say
Clemson
they
is on the
probably
doorstep.
are. I say they're probably number 26 right now.
Yeah,
They are.
but yeah, Iowa,
But
welcome
it's
back,
just-
I guess.
It's funny to me that they just pop right back up in that spot. So then we got
I was surprised that UCLA.
yeah, number 24. I mean, they're 2-0. They had a pretty good win versus San Diego State. So they pop up in that 24th spot. I mean, 35-10 versus San Diego State. So they got a North Carolina Central coming up. So I think that's going to be an interesting game to say the least. And I mean, welcome to the top 25, UCLA. And then we got
Surprising.
Washington State, which I think they deserve to be in the top 25 after
They beat
a
19
upset.
Wisconsin.
Yeah, they get an upset, so that's
Mhm.
the 23rd spot. And welcome to the 23rd spot, Washington State. 22 Miami, another upset. They upset Texas. So I
don't
feel
remember
like
the rank.
do what?
I don't remember A&M's rank, but yeah, welcome
23rd.
Miami.
So
23rd. Okay.
yeah, they get a spot over what Texas A&M had. So they come in with a 48-33 win versus Texas A&M. So I think that's a good spot for them. Welcome to the top 25.
Mm.
We get Duke up 3 spots at 21 with their major win versus Lafayette. So they moved up a few spots. Then North Carolina's double overtime drops them down to 4 spots at number 20, and I think that's rightly deserved because Appy State was an unranked team, and they put them into double overtime, which like I said, we talked about it. I thought they were going to give them if they would have won, it would have knocked them completely out, I think.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then we get Oklahoma down 2 spots with their shaky run against SMU.
We didn't talk about that, but I also didn't remember talk about that game, but I also didn't care about this game.
I really
also.
thought that was going to be a better win than that. So they did
Yeah,
have a little
no.
bit of a shaky time versus SMU. So rightly so, they deserve to lose 2 spots, and which brings
They lost 2.
huh?
They lost 2. What rank were they
SMU.
before?
Oh, they were at 17. They were at 17.
To me, it says they lost 1.
Are you on the AP
Well-
top 25?
Yeah, it says red arrow down -1. That would have meant they were 18th.
Mine's red air down 2.
What?
I will say mine is also red arrow down 1.
Really?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Let me look at my
because
phone.
I was started questioning it because you said North Carolina lost 4 spots, and that would have made them 16th, but they were 17th last week.
Yeah.
Let me see.
It says -3 on mine.
Yeah, same. And then 7 against or -7 Alabama because they
yeah,
were
both
third
of mine
and they're 10th
says
now.
the same thing. UNC down 4, Oklahoma down 2. Yeah, ESPN's got them down the same way. Which polls are you looking at?
I'm literally I'll
AP
here
News.
I'll yeah this is what I thought everyone was on.
Should be AP.
This
poll.
is
What
a
I'm on.
this is the AP poll. It's just this is the same thing we've been sending to each other back and forth.
Let me look here. What you got? Sorry, everybody.
It's the
Let's
exact
listen to
link
this.
I'm on.
Yeah, that's
Because I don't think North Carolina last week was 16th. I think they were
um
17th.
well, I can check right now.
And I think Duke stayed the same. Because I think they haven't
So
moved up since last week. I think
uh,
Colorado is the only one that moved up because Duke has remained the same ever since they got into the top 25. And Colorado was behind them, I think, at 22.
interesting. I wonder why ESPN's got it wrong then. So yeah, if you go to the ESPN one, it says they're down 2 spots. I wonder why is that so? And North Carolina down 4 spots, but you're right. Oklahoma was at 18, so it makes them down one, which is 19. North Carolina,
Yeah, I don't know what's going on.
that's
Kind of weird.
odd. I'll show
Okay.
y'all after the stream, but the way it's got set up, but that is odd. Yeah, North Carolina was at
Well,
17,
anyway, yeah.
another 20. Huh.
Yeah.
Bit weird. Sorry, I
That's
just
okay.
noticed it.
I'll just go off my phone then, since it's the way it's set up. That's strange how that's. All right, so okay, no, I can't do that. I'll just go off of what y'all sent me, because that's weird. Okay, Oklahoma down 1 to 19th, which
19th, yep.
now what brings up Colorado.
He went up 4
um,
from 22.
went up 4, which
Mm,
they won to, and I'm happy
Yeah.
for them. They deserve to come up.
I don't know
So
if they should have went up 4 since it was Nebraska, but hey, that's fine.
hey, a win's a win. They were
Good job.
they were
A win is a win. Yeah.
that was technically as far as what the not what the ranking by, but actually what the everybody said was an upset.
Fair
So,
enough.
Ole Miss up 3. I don't know if
They're
they deserved.
17th.
I don't know if they deserve to go up 3. I mean, they kind of struggled a little bit versus Tulane.
Well,
So
Tulane was what 24th,
yeah, maybe.
and Ole Miss was 20.
Yeah, true.
That's
I don't
I
know.
can sort of see it.
All right, so then we got Oregon State at 16,
They
no
haven't moved.
change. Kansas State 15, no change. LSU 14 says no change. I thought they went down further, but maybe not.
Nope.
Oregon at 13, no change. Utah at 12, no change. Tennessee at 11, dropped down 2
Mm.
spots. And
Yeah,
I
we
tell
were
you what,
high.
guys, I think we're
That's fair.
Fair.
I think
That's
that's
fair.
more than fair after what we displayed. I don't know if we'll hold on to that 11 spot.
You're right, because we going up.
I like the optimism.
hope.
I like the optimism.
Yeah.
And I don't like being pessimistic with my own team, but I'm a realist. And if we don't fix our QB situation, we will be dropping like a rock. Number 10, Alabama lost 7 spots.
That's the worst out of all of these.
Yeah,
That's bad.
Yeah, I mean, I think rightly so.
Yeah, it's deserved.
Yeah.
No.
Horrible performance against Texas. Number 9, Notre Dame moved up a spot. 8, Washington stayed the
No
same.
change.
7, Penn State
Mhm.
stayed the same. 6, Ohio State lost a spot. And like I said, I think that's deserved also. I mean, you let a college that's a community college, probably borderline high school, put 7 points on you in the first quarter. That probably just has 4 fans. So you deserve to lose a spot. I think you probably deserve to lose more than that. Number 5, USC went up a spot. Texas moved up 7 spots, which, like I said, I think they deserve to move up that much. I mean, you beat an Alabama.
You beat Alabama, yep.
They were ranked 3.
They switched pretty much. Yeah.
So you deserve to come up in the top 4. Number 3, Florida State moved up 1, and then
Crazy.
I think they're going to be a
That's
team
scary.
to contend
That's
with.
scary.
I really
Yeah,
do.
they're scary.
They've been a team in the past, and I think they're a team again. that's
Yeah.
continuing with a lot of the big players. Number 2, Michigan stayed the same, and number 1, of course, Georgia has stayed the same since week 1. No change. So those are your rankings for week 3.
This is probably the fairest ranking
So far we've
so
had,
far.
yeah.
The most
After week 2.
awestrucking after week 1.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
The most awestruck, but
Can y'all find
Still
the week
fair.
1 rankings real quick before we drop out of here?
yes, yeah.
Yeah. We'll compare.
I would like to compare
Compare 'em.
so far to see how much of a difference there is. Minus
Okay, so
the Iowa at 25 because I think that's funny that they're back.
do you want to go from the bottom?
Yeah, let's go back from the bottom again.
Okay, so 25 obviously Iowa, 24 Tulane.
They're gone.
Wait, we're week 1? Sorry.
That's week 1, yeah.
Yeah, week 1.
Okay, yeah.
23 Texas A&M.
They're gone.
Yeah. 22 Ole Miss.
Okay, where is Ole Miss at? Are they gone too? No, okay, they're at 17.
No,
they're
they're-
at 17. Okay, so
Yeah,
they
they're
moved
still
up. They moved up.
21 North Carolina.
They've stayed pretty much right there.
Yeah. Oklahoma 20.
Okay, so Oklahoma has. Where's Oklahoma at? Scrolling up and down on this thing. Are they gone?
Possibly.
No. They're
no, they're
19.
not.
I kept on
They're
scrolling
not.
back and
It
forth.
is.
So they stayed about the same. Okay. There's a big ad
um,
right there in the middle of this poll.
Number 19 Wisconsin.
And Wisconsin
Yeah, and now
is
Oklahoma's there.
Yep.
gone.
Wisconsin was 19. Yep, they're not there.
18 Oregon State.
They're 16th currently. Colorado took that spot.
Okay.
Yep. 17 TCU.
TCU gone. Ole
Gone.
Miss 17th.
Within the
Yep.
first week, yeah. 16 Kansas State.
They're about
They're
the same.
moved up one,
About the
15th.
same.
Oregon,
Oregon
State 16th now.
15.
Yeah,
moved
they
up a
went up
couple.
2 spots. Kansas State 15th.
14 is Utah.
LSU is 14th now. Utah went up
Yeah.
2.
Okay.
13 Notre Dame.
They moved
they-
up to 9.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
moved up 5. Oregon's 13th now.
Tennessee at 12.
Well.
Utah's 12th now. So
11 Texas.
we're now 11th.
And Texas is now
Yeah.
4.
4, yeah. Number 10 Washington.
Alabama's 10 now.
Where's
Washington is
Washington? 8th.
8. 9 Clemson.
Notre Dame is now there. Clemson's out.
Clemson's
Clemson's
gone. That's probably the
Hey.
biggest loser out of all this.
Yeah.
Clemson's just gone.
Yeah.
8 is Florida State.
Washington's here. Florida State's 3rd.
3rd, yeah. 7 Penn State.
Penn State's still 7th.
Yeah.
6th is USC.
USC.
Yeah.
Ohio State. Sorry. Ohio State currently.
5 is LSU. They went
Currently
What are they?
is USC.
Yeah.
Yeah.
LSU's
They went-
14.
14.
Yeah, LSU's 14th. USC is 5th. Yeah.
Number 4 Alabama.
Currently, Texas was Alabama.
Yeah.
Number 3 Ohio State.
Currently, Florida State was Ohio State. They're
Yep.
now 6th. And
s-
Michigan and Georgia, yeah,
Yeah.
they're the
Yeah.
same.
Michigan and Georgia. are the
So we've seen quite a few teams that are no longer in the top 25.
Yeah.
That have
Quite a
dropped
few.
out. Quite a few.
And
Some
quite a few have ranked up a lot.
Quite a few went up. Texas and Florida State came shooting up.
Yeah, rocketing.
Rocketing
Some that
up.
weren't even there from the first week,
No.
as in Duke and Colorado.
Yeah.
Also,
And now UCLA and Washington State
yeah,
and Miami.
UCLA,
Yeah.
New.
Washington State, and Miami. Yeah.
So this
And
is
Iowa's back.
you might want to keep that on tab. We might look back at the end of the year and see how. I guess we can go back at any time, but yeah, to see how much of a
Yeah.
difference it is to what we have now. So it's definitely interesting how much of a difference there is
A lot of change.
just in 2 polls.
Mm-hmm.
how far they were wrong on the very first one, and we'll see how wrong they are at the end of the season. But interesting week. Some upsets, some disappointments. Like I said at the beginning of this episode, some just wild games. Some very close, close scoring games that you wouldn't have thought just by seeing the names beside of them that they would be that close. I mean, we've proved that at least to Cody, I think, by now with Appy State and
Yeah.
Texas
Texas
Tech.
Tech. Yeah,
Even though we picked Oregon to win it.
still a close game.
Mhm.
So, but I think that's about all I've got. We'll have
Good.
another episode in a couple days, kind of giving the forecast of what we think will be the winners of the next week. And if y'all got anything, go right ahead. But I think I'm about out of it.
No, I'm all good.
Yeah.
Cody's all
Interesting
good.
week. Interesting week.
It definitely was.
Yeah, it's far exceeded my expectations after week 2.
I think the week we're getting ready to come up on is the week that
I'm
will
scared.
make and break. This is the
scared.
make or break week for a lot of teams.
Yeah.
And I mean, we've
And I'm looking
went
at you,
through.
Tennessee.
Oh, absolutely. We're about to reach a week where this is the week where a lot of teams will actually find out what their season is going to look like. I shared a video with Jaden and Cody earlier today, and it's by SEC Shorts. There was like teams that already think that their season's over with, and just in week 2.
Yeah.
Week 3 is really where that starts happening for a lot of teams, especially in the SEC. That's when you start playing your SEC schedule. And your conference schedules
And
are
then
hitting.
on up is pretty much
Yeah.
and then on up is pretty much conference games and other big name games that may not be in your conference.
So I mean, these are your big games coming up, and it starts at week 3. So we'll start seeing maybe even more changes on that top 25 poll, and see how they actually handle themselves in this game. Now, it could be another surprise week for us. It could be another week where some of these teams that have been lackluster, I'm hoping that's the case for Tennessee, that will show themselves in week 3. Maybe they were just holding back.
What's the biggest game in week 3?
Yeah, the
Do you know?
Alabama-Texas game was week 2's biggest game. Let's see what's week 3's biggest game is.
Just drop it if you can find it on a website like we were doing where you had the broadcasting name of the like where it was being broadcasted and the time of the game. If you can find something like that again and just send it into the chat here.
In the chat? Okay.
Yeah, and then when we talk about the preview, we can go over that, I guess. We won't
Okay.
go over it here.
I've got it
But-
right here. It's on that ESPN website. I'll drop it in the chat there.
Okay.
And that way you can see.
Because I don't know who all plays week 3.
There's quite a few games that are worth looking at. I mean, because like I said, week 3 is your make or break.
For sure.
But it looks like, well, the schedule wise, let's see.
So let's go to Saturday. I'm not looking at the Thursday and Friday
Yeah.
games. So I don't care about those. Biggest game for Saturday, boys.
Yeah, that's what I'm kind of scrolling through, seeing what we got for.
Ow, I just pulled some hair.
That's not good.
No way it's Tennessee and Florida, right? Like, no way.
No, there's no way.
Because we have Washington. Oh no, sorry. We have I just saw it. Yeah, we have Washington and Michigan State. I don't know if that would be a big game, but that's something to look out for.
Well, there's no
Then you
teams that are
have-
playing ranked team together. There's no ranked versus ranked this coming week.
That is true. We have Georgia and South Carolina at 3:30. That might be interesting to watch. I mean, Georgia's gonna win. Let's not act like they're not. But I would like to see how South Carolina is this year, so we can get revenge. Missouri plays
Jeez.
Kansas State. Huh. I would like to watch that game.
That
actually.
might be the
LSU
as far as close
and
scoring, maybe the
Mississippi
best
State.
close scoring game.
yeah, LSU and Mississippi State,
And Georgia and South Carolina.
Penn State and Illinois. Okay. Louisville and Indiana. Wow. Ooh.
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I think people may call the Tennessee and Florida game the game of the week because I think it's, I could be wrong. I don't know all the rivalries by memory, but I think that's the biggest rivalry here out of this week.
It is at the 7
Georgia
o'clock
and South Carolina's-
spot.
Yeah. I think Georgia and South Carolina is sort of a rivalry game because it's a conference game, and I think all of our conference games are rivalries, like but there's bigger rivalries, like South Carolina may be a rival to us,
Yeah.
but it's not like bigger than a Florida game or a Alabama or Georgia game, maybe.
That might be actually looking at this might be the game of the week will be Tennessee versus Florida.
I bet they will call that game of the week. Either that or Kansas State, Missouri, Mississippi, LSU, Mississippi State, Penn State, Illinois. I mean, yeah. But anyway, sorry, I'm done. I just wanted to know.
Yeah,
Talk about that
I'm
next
curious too.
No.
Yeah, I don't
time.
know.
Yeah, I'm finished. Yeah, I'm good.
I think that's just. But now week 4, there's some definitely
Uh-oh.
games of the week. Week 4.
We have week
So-
4 up already. We
Yeah.
have week 4.
Oh, I've got week. Let's see, week
Oh, it
5,
literally
week
shows it.
6. I've got all these.
Oh, it's also on Google too.
Yeah. Yeah, so there's some bigger games in week 4 and week 5 that are closer. Closer.
Yeah, because
matchups.
Tennessee plays South Carolina week
UTSA.
4. No,
Well,
UTSA. Sorry,
yeah.
week 5 is
Is South
South
Carolina.
yeah. Sorry.
Yeah. So there's some bigger games. Next week maybe just the biggest games, Florida versus Tennessee, just because that's the probably the
The biggest
closest
rivalry,
matchup.
I guess.
Yeah, biggest rivalry, the closest matchup to each other. I know the rankings don't, or like the rankings not showing it that way, but believe me, the way Tennessee's played, it's probably
We're
gonna
only
be
favored by
close.
5, but we'll talk about that next time.
Yeah, but other than that, I think that's going to be the end of this podcast. And I hope y'all enjoy the podcast. These first of the week podcasts usually go long. We got to recap the games, go over the polls, and usually the next podcast, the second episode of the week, is usually shorter because we can go through those pretty quick. So, other than that, that's going to be it for me. I'm Dustin.
And I'm Jaden.
And I'm Cody.
Okay.
And I'm Cody. And we will catch
Nice.
you. Did I get that by really close? And I'm Cody.
That's pretty good.
And we'll
That's
catch
pretty
you
good.
next time. It's football time in college football.